G'day everyone, my name is Dave and I'm Australian. And because I'm Australian, I grew up eating meat pies. Now there was this one time when I was like 14 years old where I bit into a hot meat pie, and what I found in there was this big bit of animal tendon. I mean, it was all chewy and gristly and made me want to puke. Heartbreaking, right? Maybe you don't feel the same way I do about that event, but you've probably experienced something similar in your own life. Something that was hard to get over. Hard like a piece of tendon. Chances are that you've not only experienced something seemingly small or silly that was hard to get over, but you've probably gone through some things that were really painful and hard to move on from as well. We've all been hurt or disappointed or wronged by something or someone, and when that happens, it's just not that easy to get over. That might be what you're dealing with right now. Maybe you're having a hard time getting over something that really hurts in your life. The loss of a friendship, the painful words of someone else, the disappointment of not getting the part in a school play, the betrayal of gossip spread about you. Maybe you've been left out, uninvited, disappointed, made fun of, lied to, or heartbroken. And even if it happens weeks or months or years ago, when you think about it, it still hurts. A lot like my teeth too from that bit of tendon. For whatever reason, you can't seem to get over it. The truth is, we've all been there before, and unfortunately, we'll all probably be there again. Because sometimes people hurt us, they fight with us, they make a stupid comment that embarrasses us, they disappoint us, they end a relationship with us, they break our trust, and even though they might move on as though it never happened, we don't. We feel stuck in the hurt and betrayal and anger. We are most definitely not over it. So what do we do? When we're not over it and we can't move on, we tend to respond in a number of different ways. Some of us start giving people the silent treatment, hoping that it will somehow punish them for what they did to us. Others of us decide to pretend we're okay, even though we're not. Some of us act out, saying things we shouldn't say, losing our tempers or taking our pain out on other people. Others of us try to distract ourselves, maybe shove our earbuds in our ears and tune out the world, or binge watch the latest Netflix series to take our mind off what we're feeling. No matter what it is you choose to do, I'll let you in on a little secret. It won't work. No matter how hard you try, it's not going to help you move on. It's not going to help you get over it. Sure, you might feel better for a moment, but the feelings are still there. The feelings won't go away. And that really stinks because ultimately those feelings only hurt you. Sorry, got distracted by people in the background. Keep it down, come on! Shh, trying to work in here. You're the one holding on to the heartache and the pain, not the other person. You're the only one suffering because you can't move on. It's kind of like that game, Tug of War. Hang on, let me show you what I mean. It's like when BB-8 and this retro R2-D2 have a rope between them and they're kind of pulling and forward. It would be like who is this? Imagine if BB-8 and this retro-looking R2-D2 thing had a rope between them. As they keep pulling, it just keeps going backwards and forwards. They're constantly stuck. Nobody's ever moving forward. That's kind of what this is like. Keep it down! Seriously, trying to be professional here. Can you imagine being stuck in a game of tug of war that never ends? Imagine how exhausting and frustrating that would be. Oh, head came off, so that's awkward. But what if I told you there was another option? What if I told you that you didn't have to stay in the struggle? What if there really was a way for you to move on and get over it? Today, I want to share part of a letter with you. It's a letter written by this guy named Paul, an important leader in the early church. Now, hundreds of years ago, Paul started a bunch of churches, and when he left them, he sent letters to encourage and teach the people there as they grew. And what's cool is that we can read these letters today because they're all recorded in the Bible. Paul wrote the letter we're going to look at today to the church in a town called Thessalonica. Now, Paul had been driven out of Thessalonica by guys who weren't super excited about the growth of the church and the spread of Christianity. They called Paul an imposter and a liar, so they spread rumors about him. They treated him terribly. How did Paul respond? Well, with this letter. It was kind of like the way he tweeted. He wanted to set the record straight, and without Twitter, he had to write a letter. So he did that. He did that because he needed to remind the people of Thessalonica of what was actually true and help this church get through all the challenges they were facing. Now remember, it wasn't easy to be a follower of Jesus back then. Christians were often mistreated, much like Paul. That's why I think we can learn a lot about moving on from our feelings of hurt and betrayal and from anger from Paul. He knew exactly what it felt like to be treated unfairly. He knew exactly what it felt like to be betrayed, or lied to, or heartbroken, or wrong. And in his time, it was common to choose to get even rather than get over it. The people of that time lived by the law of retaliation. In other words, you hurt me, so I'm gonna hurt you. It was a cycle that didn't seem to end. And honestly, the people of Thessalonica probably thought that's what Paul was going to say in his letter. But instead, Paul did something different. Something that would break the cycle. He wrote, "Make sure that nobody pays back wrong for wrong, but always strive to do what is good for each other and for everyone else." This may not sound all that crazy to us, but in Paul's day, this was huge. In a culture that had been taught to pay back wrong with wrong, Paul instead told them to adopt a brand new way of thinking when it came to wrongdoing. He encouraged them to step out of the cycle of wrong for wrong and instead focus on what was good, not just for them, but also for all. Think about how this might impact your life. Instead of staying mad, hiding out, trying to get even, or simply feeling stuck in the pain and hurt you're feeling because of something or someone else, what if you chose to let go of what was hurting you for the good of everyone, including you? I know that probably sounds like a really difficult thing to do, but that's because it is. It's not easy to choose to let go of the pain someone has caused us. It's not easy to want to do what's good for someone who has hurt us. It's not easy to let go of the grudge we might be holding on to in favor of the good. But Paul told us that if we want to break the cycle, if we want to get over it, we have to try. In other words, we have to forgive. Why? Because forgiveness helps you get over it. At this point, you may be thinking, okay, I get it, just because someone is a jerk doesn't mean I have to be a jerk. But how does that help me get over it? How do I forgive when I'm still hurting on the inside? How do I stop playing this internal game of tug of war? These are good questions, and here's my honest answer. You have to make the choice to forgive, even when it's not fair. It's the only thing that's going to help you break the cycle of pain that you're stuck in right now. What happened to BB-8's head? I think I actually broke it. Whether you consider yourself a Christian or not, the first thing you need to know is that forgiveness doesn't magically make everything better. Paul certainly didn't have an easy life as a leader in the early church just because he forgave those who hurt him. What is happening? I'm out. Did we put the fire out? What is happening here? Paul certainly didn't have an easy life as a leader in the early church just because he forgave those who hurt him. He was jailed and persecuted, thrown out of town, but he made a choice over and over again to strive for what was good because he knew that it would not only help those around him, but it would help him as well. He made a choice to forgive, even when it didn't feel good right away, and even when it wasn't deserved. And that's the same choice we can make too. Forgiveness helps you get over it. And to help you get started, here are 2 things I want you to try this week. Number 1, give up. Give up your right to be mad. Give up your right to get even. Give up your right to hurt someone else because they've hurt you. That's the first step you can take towards choosing what is good. And number 2, let it go. Let it go, let it go. Don't hold me back anymore. That was terrible. Let go of the hurt you're holding on to and make a choice to move on and move forward in forgiveness. Letting it go doesn't always mean you have to run up and tell someone that you forgive them. It doesn't even have to be something you talk about at all. It could be something you do simply for yourself. Maybe you write a letter to the person who hurt you to get out all of your thoughts and feelings, but you never send it. Maybe you pray for them. Maybe you end that prayer with a simple, I forgive you and I'm letting it go. Let it go. Whatever it is, Whatever it is, know that letting it go is a choice you're making to help you move forward, whether you tell the other person or not. We can't change our circumstances. We can't change the fact that people will hurt us or wrong us, but we can change ourselves. We can break out of the cycle of pain we feel stuck in by choosing to forgive. Why? Because forgiveness helps you get over it. Here's something I want you to think about. What is one hurt in your life that you've had a hard time letting go of? Oh, BB. This is the hurt that BB-8 has felt. The fact that his head doesn't stay on. It legit doesn't stay on. Oh, fixed it. Do you forgive me, BB-8? Thank you. BB-8 got over it.